Hello everyone, Ember Power here, and welcome back to a new video. In this one I'm going to be going over some new reveals from the set Triple Beat, which is going to be an expansion set for the Scarlet and Violet era. So basically we can expect to see these cards probably in our second set of Scarlet and Violet, so that'll be about in June. So for some reveals, we've got the return of illustration rares, which is really good. Got some really cute ones. There's a Meowscarada, so Sprigatito is the basic evolution. So we've got Sprigatito, Fuecoco, and then Quaxly. Fuecoco is definitely my favorite of these ones. So Sprigatito, just basic evolution, not really doing a whole lot. There's also two different rarities, or two different kinds, I should say. There's the Florigato, which I honestly forgotten about this Pokemon. I just forgot its name entirely, which isn't doing anything too crazy. But the Meowscarada, can't pronounce that name, Meowscarada, EX, 310 HP, Grass type, Stage 2, so decent amount of hit points, about the same as Gardevoir, has the ability Magic Bouquet, which says you may discard a Grass Energy card from your hand in order to use this ability. Once during your turn, you may choose one of your opponent's benched and put 3 damage counters on it. So if you get a bunch of these in play, you can start sprinkling around a lot of damage. Theoretically, if you had 2 or 3 of these in play, your opponent essentially couldn't bench anything with 90 HP or lower, which is very appealing, especially in an evolution-heavy format where players are going to be playing Pokemon with, 60, 70 HP requiring to evolve. And being able to snipe stuff like Flaffy and Manaphy on the bench is also really strong, so yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of its ability. The only problem is you need quite a lot of these out in play to get maximum value from it. So it does have the attack as well, Nail Scratch for 2 colors, does 100 damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon already has any damage counters on it, it does 120 more. So it's basically the attack that Samurott V-Star has, but that was for 2 Dark Energy, this is for 2 colors. So you can use double Turbo Energy, which will reduce your damage by 20, but theoretically that shouldn't matter if you're using a bunch of Magic Bouquets at that point. So yeah, I don't know about this card. It seems pretty good. You can obviously pair it nicely with the ability. You could do some Cheryl combos, maybe use Rosanna's backup to recycle double Turbo Energy, but yeah, doesn't seem like a bad card at all. Definitely have to see how this goes. It kind of reminds me of Decidueye GX in a way, because they're both Stage 2 Grass Pokemon from their first generations, but yeah, we'll have to see if this ends up seeing a lot of play, but yeah, I think it's a pretty solid card overall. So we see a Paldean Taurus with some amazing artwork, I will say that much. It does have a pretty generic Outrage attack, Fury Horn, 20 and 10 more reach damage counter. Just pretty bad in this day and age, to be honest. These kind of Outrage attacks are really good way back in the early days of Black and White and stuff, but since then, damage output from Roblox Pokemon is obviously just a lot bigger than whatever this can tank, basically. So this would need to have at least 170 or 150 to 170, I should say, hit points in order for Fury Horn to be really considered, which is a shame because I like Taurus as a Pokemon and the artwork is amazing, but yeah, pretty generic. We also see an Oricorio, which has the ability Passionate Dance. It says, once in your turn, you may heal 20 damage from your active evolution. So it is limited to the active spot, but being able to heal 20 damage from an evolution Pokemon is okay, especially when you consider Radiant Tracina is a Radiant Pokemon that can heal 20 from each of your Pokemon. So I guess if you want a kind of healing deck, and there is going to be a Skeledirge that we'll have to review in a second that will obviously benefit from having healing as well, so there's a little bit of synergy there if you want to stack a bunch of these on the bench, but ultimately healing 20, bit weak to be honest. We see a Fuecoco, which is very cute, and then the new Fuecoco in the shopping cart is adorable. Spacing out, flip a coin, heal, if heads, heal 30 damage. 90 HP, I will say, is a little bit tankier than most evolving basics, that's good to see. And then Crocodile, 110 HP, so unlike its previous evolution, it's out of the range of Level Ball, which is a bit unfortunate. But then we get to Skeledirge, or Skeledirge. I can't pronounce these Pokemon, I really can't pronounce Paldeans. But this guy, the big crocodile, has 340 HP, which is absolutely massive. I think this is the biggest Stage 2 EX we've ever seen. And bear in mind, this card gives up 2 prize cards, which is absurd to think about, really. So it has more HP than Duraludon VMAX, I think, or the same HP as Eternatus, and it gives up 1 less prize, which is crazy to think about. So it has 2 attacks, Vitality Song and Burning Voice. Burning Voice is where it's really at, really. 2 Fire Energy, 270 damage, 10 less for each damage counter on this Pokemon. Honestly, an okay attack. I know like a lot of these attacks have been typically pretty bad in the past. They've done like 250 base, so you always needed modifiers. But this will one-hit KO some EX Pokemon, and it will one-hit KO some V-Stars. And you just need 1 damage counter in a modifier in order to knock out your opponent's active Pokemon in a single hit. So with a Defiant Band or Choice Belt, you can get to 300, so you can already knock out stuff like Gardevoir that's had to use its ability. So I don't know, I really like Burning Voice. There's also the option to use Cheryl, so you Cheryl after using this attack. And then, yeah, your opponent does damage to you, you play a Cheryl, you then Magma Basin to a benched Fire Pokemon, and then use Armorage to move the energy up to the active, and then Burning Voice is still doing 270 because you moved the energy with Armorage, so Basin isn't damaging your Skeledirge. So that's pretty cool. The first attack is also okay, I guess. 50 damage, heal 30 from each of your Pokemon. It's fine. It's never going to be like accumulating enough to make Burning Voice viable, but doing 50 is also a little bit weak. It's 10 less than, you know, most of these evolutions and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. The first attack's a bit meh. Doesn't have a really good ability. Its biggest selling point really is the high hit points and the fact that it can do massive 1-hit KO potential. But yeah, seems like a pretty solid fire type overall. We also see a Paldean Taurus, which is, yeah, it's going to be the water type version, I guess, of Taurus. I think this one's doing 20 plus 10. If I remember correctly, the other one was doing... Alright, they all do 20 plus 10. Okay, I thought they did 30 base for some reason. But yeah, Paldean Taurus. Second attack, 60 damage for one of your opponent's Pokemon. Nothing too crazy, nothing too special. Also see a Quaxley, and this was the alternate art, which is pretty cute. And then Quaxel, not doing much, but we'll get to Quilava EX and things get a bit more interesting. So we do have the attack Lively Samba, 60 damage. Switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. Your opponent switches their active with one of their bench Pokemon. So a lot of wording there. It's basically a hit and run, but it's also forcing out a switch, which is pretty interesting. It means that you can switch this off into inevitably there's going to be a Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet that says, you know, this Pokemon takes no damage from your opponent's EX or Vs, I'm assuming. So we'll probably see some kind of Miltank style card for EX. And when that does come around, then this Quilava will have a partner. The only problem is you're only doing 60 damage. So the 60 damage, I mean, yeah, you have Cheryl, I guess, and you have 320 HP, but 60 really isn't a lot of damage. So yeah, a bit concerning, but does have the attack Propeller Shot as well that does 230, which is massive. And then you put 2 energy from this Pokemon into your hand. And what's really cool about this is that there's a single prize Quilava as well that you could run in the deck. It says once during turn, you just get to attach an energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. So you could use that Quilava and then a manual attachment from hand just to power this guy up again and do 230 again, which is crazy. It also means that if you, after using this attack to put the energy back in your hand, your opponent could hit you, then you could use Cheryl, then you just use the Quilava's ability to reattach, manually attach, and then do 230 again. So the Cheryl loops are once again very potent with this card. So yeah, you're not doing as much damage as Skeledirge, but still, if you're doing consistently doing, you know, 230 or 60, then yeah, I don't see why this deck wouldn't take off really. It seems pretty solid. There's a Paldean Taurus that's a fighting type, but it's not very good. We also see a reprint of Superior Energy Retrieval, which is really good. Discard 2 cards from your hand, I should say. So it's like an Ultra Ball. Put 4 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. You can choose a card that you discarded with the effect of this card. Okay, so you have to take 4 basic energy that you didn't discard with the initial effect. So just very strong. If we ever see some kind of Deluge Engine, either a Stage 1 or a Stage 2 again, then I think this could be a really solid addition to most decks. We also see Dendra that says put 1 card from your hand on the bottom of your deck, then draw cards until you have 5. It's kind of like Serena, but I would honestly say it's a little bit worse because although Serena's discarding resources, 9 times out of 10, I'm pretty sure I'd rather discard up to 3 useless cards from my hand and then also have the option to Gust. So I don't think Dendra is as good as Serena, but I guess if you really want to conserve cards, then it's a better option than Serena. Then we see Clavel that says search your deck for 3 basic Pokemon that have 120 HP or less. pretty weak. It's just like Gloria. I mean, you can get Pokemon with a Roblox, which is an interesting note about Clavel. So this will find Radiants, I guess, that have 120 HP or less. But I can't think of many off the top of my head that see play, apart from maybe Radiant Howlucha. So yeah, seems very niche. I guess if we get EX Pokemon with 120 HP or less, but I doubt that. So unless we get Shaman again. So yeah, not a huge fan of Clavel. We then see Artazon Town. I've not played these games, so sorry for the pronunciations. Artazon Town. Says once during each player's turn, that player may search your deck for one basic Pokemon, excluding Pokemon with a Roblox, and play it onto their bench. Okay, yikes. So this will find anything but a Radiant, or a, Roblox EX, VGX card, I guess. So very strong card. Doesn't mean decks just have a lot more consistency. Decks like Lost Box will probably welcome this card as well. Just any one prize box might be running 1 or 2 copies of this, I see, because it's just really good consistency throughout the whole game to be able to find an additional evolving basic. So yeah, big fan of this stadium. We also see Luminous Energy. As long as this Pokemon card is attached to Pokemon, it provides every type of energy, but only one at a time. So this is the kind of like Aurora Energy style card of this generation. Also says, if this Pokemon card this card is attached to has any other special energy, however, this card only provides one colorless instead. So that means Lugia can't run this energy full stop, I don't think. And then Regis maybe can run this energy, but they still need 2 basic energy of a different type. So it'd be interesting to see what people come up with Luminous Energy. It probably won't be as good in Lugia or Regis, but for other decks that kind of want to build an Aurora Box style deck with different attackers, then maybe it's okay. But yeah, I'm not too sure about that one. Yeah, the big kind of like talking points, I guess, are Dendra potentially. The new stadium's good. The energy's pretty good in a box deck. Quilava, I think, has hit and run potential, or just propeller shot loops with Quilava. The other Quaxly, I should say. Oh, not the Quaxly, the other Quilava. The Taurus are all pretty generic. I don't think they'll see play. Skeledirge seems pretty good, but attack that can be controlled by your opponent's damage output can be questionable sometimes. The Oricorio is fine, and then the Meowscarada is, yeah, seems pretty solid. So, yes, been on Power. Let me know what you think down below, and thank you for watching.